So you're dating someone and things start off great. You get excited and hopeful about this person, and then suddenly, in an instant, you feel a change in them, a change in their behavior, and you're left wondering, what's going on? All of a sudden, this person who was always texting and blowing up your phone is now inconsistently responding to you. But you're not sure what happened. There was no argument or fight, no disagreement, no awkward moments. What made this person suddenly lose interest? What caused their change of heart? In this video, we're going to talk about attraction and dating, and I'll explain the reasons why people lose interest. And I'll explain when and if you can prevent it from happening to you. So don't go anywhere. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borello. If you've just stumbled upon my channel for the first time, I make weekly dating and relationship advice videos that will help you make your love life the best part of your life. I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our weekly videos. Just click on that subscribe button and you'll be good to go. So sometimes people lose interest after a particular date or an in-person experience. The person was totally into you, communicating all the time, and then after a date, they communicate less or become less and less responsive. The concerned guy who always made plans now cancels at the last minute. Or the person who is writing you paragraphs is now barely giving you short 1 or 2 word responses to your texts. When a person you like suddenly loses interest, their behavior change is easy to spot and produces uneasy and uncertain feelings about the relationship. It's frustrating and discouraging. Trust me, it's happened to me many times. And when you don't know the reason, it leaves you questioning your worth. So let's dig into this and see if we can better understand. Let's face it, sometimes the reason for a relationship ending is clear. Perhaps there was a disagreement or a dispute leading to your partner's decision to bail out. Perhaps you did something or said something that alienated your partner and contributed to the breakup. You know, you liked every one of his Instagram photos over the last 3 years. Or you talked about what your future children will look like on your second date. Sometimes there are obvious things that scared him away, or perhaps you had a falling out or a serious disagreement. In that case, assess your behaviors and why they occurred. Were they situational behaviors, or were they part of your personality characteristics or your belief system? An understanding of the behaviors and personality characteristics and your belief system that led to conflict allows you to learn from the experience. Perhaps you could recognize how you could have behaved differently, or was the conflict a result of your partner's objection to a belief of yours? In that case, you realize that you would do exactly the same thing again and conclude that your personalities, your belief systems are incompatible. But sometimes people need a reality check. If you get more than your fair share of rejection, it may be time for a self-evaluation. Did you turn your partner off? Perhaps a joke was made or misconstrued or misunderstood? Or were you drinking and smoking cigarettes on the date? Something as simple as a difference in lifestyle could explain everything. That's not to suggest that you shouldn't be yourself. You should be. In fact, it is essential that you're your authentic self and that you're not compromising your feelings and values to be the perfect partner. Just realize that some things are deal breakers. For example, a person who has asthma might never entertain the possibility of dating a person who smokes cigarettes. I've known of many people who attempt to hide their smoking habit from the person they're dating, and it often doesn't work. It backfires. Non-smokers can smell smoke on your clothing and in your hair hours after your last cigarettes. So ask yourself the tough questions and have the courage to answer them honestly. There may be ways that you need to change. For most, an honest self-evaluation will reveal the problem. But some people will struggle to recognize how they sabotage their own success with potential dates. Another thing to realize is that it's not always about you. New relationships are fragile and exploratory. Despite promising beginnings, it's not uncommon for one or both partners to experience a sudden change of heart. When the reason for their change of heart is not obvious, you're left puzzled and confused and anxious. Did I do something wrong? Was it something I said? Did I seem too needy or clingy, or does someone else have their attention? The biology behind attraction is that we want better offspring. So whenever we see someone healthy and attractive and strong and smart, we want to mix our genes with theirs. And we feel that when coupled with ours, it might produce better offspring. If the other person doesn't want us or is not available for a relationship, then their perceived value goes up. On the other hand, when someone comes around showing too much interest in us, we feel like they have less value. It's like, why the hell are you even interested in me? We have this deep-rooted perception that we are flawed, and anyone who is overly interested in us has a much lower value than us. They're flawed as well. Whether we think about reproduction or not, much of what we consider attractive is compelled or driven or motivated by our subconscious minds. And when perceived value goes down, so does one's level of attractiveness. So when you show an uninvested person, a new person that you're dating, too much interest, your value relative to theirs goes down. Does that make sense? So check your emotions at the door and reveal your feelings slowly as they become more and more interested and invested in the relationship. A sudden change of heart without an obvious reason is often a triggered emotional response. Some behavior or interaction or new information triggered a negative emotion in your partner and caused them to experience some anxiety. This uneasiness gets associated with you and poof, they're gone. Unless you were offensive or mean or appeared way too interested or needy, the trigger is likely related to something in your partner's past and has nothing to do with you. Triggers could be almost anything: behaviors, gestures, expressions, differences of opinion, or even the way you laugh. Sometimes a trigger is an alert to an important difference between people, but often a trigger is simply an irrational emotional response to something your partner isn't even aware of. Often the person who loses interest doesn't even know why it happened, doesn't understand why their own feelings have changed. They just know that they don't feel the same way. So don't blame yourself or spend endless hours worrying about what went wrong. It happens to everyone. It happens frequently, and it's not a reflection of you, period. Remember, anyone who is dating will have these experiences and it won't feel good. What's important is that you quickly recognize when your feelings are no longer being reciprocated. And once you're aware, adjust your behaviors and feelings accordingly. Don't waste your time worrying about the person who isn't showing as much interest as you are. Move forward and meet someone as eager about a relationship as you are. And don't settle for anything less. I know I certainly won't. You deserve a person who is just as excited about you and knows how to show it. I know many of you have change of heart stories or stories about when people lost interest and you couldn't figure out why. If you'd like my help trying to decipher something, leave a comment below and I'll check it out. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful or informative, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. This is uneasy and person who was writing your were they situational behaviors, habitual things, or personality characteristics? Your partner's decision to ban you. I make weekly videos. I'm standing here without pants on, actually. Answer that on babata tuta. It's not always about you. It's always about me, but not always about you. The biology behind attraction is that we want better offspring. Hours worrying about what went wrong. So let's dig into this and see if we can better understand. Something are your true and authentic. Recognize how they sabotage their